Small Business Radio Detroit. It's Marlo, you already know. And I am here today hosting the podcast where we don't just talk business, we talk breakthroughs. And we're here to turn your barriers into bridges. So today we have a very special guest. I'm super duper excited to bring her on. Her name is Dr. Carmen Bell-Ross, and she is the CEO of SP Grace LLC. Now, this company is a powerhouse when it comes to leadership and professional development, human resources, and overall the management in general, the management of people and training. It is just so amazing to see the work that she's doing. Currently leading the NOF ARPA Grant Fund project with the city of Detroit, doing amazing work in Oakland County, you name it, doing work with Ford for years and years, you name it. This company is really making a huge impact on everyone around. So today she's going to be talking about the systems that have failed our people, talk about some unconventional success that she's had, challenges she's had to overcome, her groundbreaking Elevate program, and the responsibility of making sure that these public dollars are reaching these private dreams within these organizations. So she's brilliant, she's bold, and beautifully honest. And this conversation is one that's going to challenge you, charge you up, and maybe even change you. So let's get into it. Good afternoon, Dr. Carmen Bell-Ross. How are
Good
you today?
afternoon. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Even more excited to be sitting here talking to you about all the great work you're doing, that you've been doing over the last decades, right? And it's just an honor to sit here and conversate with you.
Oh,
You're such an inspiration, definitely someone that I admire and want to continue to kind of take tidbits from.
oh, thank you. That is an honor that you feel that way. So thank you so much.
Yes, yes, definitely. So we want to really get into the story, right? The real story about you, about SP Grace. So just take us back. Where did your journey start with SP Grace? How did this come into fruition?
Okay. Let me think how far back we're gonna go. Um, so when I was a child,
No,
so no, in all seriousness, I named SP Grace for my mother, my grandmother, and my great grandmother. And when I was very young, I always wanted to be just like my mom. I just did. I always wanted to be like my mom. When I was young, I had all this energy. I was a kid who, had a lot to say all the time when nobody was talking to a kid, right? And I
yes.
always, I was like that child. And so I remember one day answering the phone, someone called our house and they asked to speak to Dr. Bell. So I ran in the kitchen and I asked my parents, like, somebody asked for Dr. Bell. Which one of y'all is that?
Right.
So,
Right here, the what, Dr. Who?
who is that? And so, at the time, my mother was working at the University of Michigan. And so she, jumped up and grabbed the phone and put on her real professional voice. And she finished up her call. And I said, I want that. I want to be a Dr. Bell. And I was a little kid. And that really, for me, that's how much I admired my mom, that I was like, well, if she has something, I want it. And I want to be just like her when I grow up.
Yes.
And it really shaped what I wanted to do with my career. My goal was to be able to work with my mom. And so Dream realized that's really great for me with her as my business partner now. But the women in my family are so inspiring to me.
Yes.
My great grandmother was born in 1878 in Southeast Mississippi in a very small town. And
Yes.
she was about like 4'7". But everybody said she covered the ground she walked on. And you have to think about a Black woman growing up in that town in that time. And, her parents, she was, sharecroppers, right?
Right.
And just
Right.
the work was very, very, very different for her. But yet she raised five children, four of whom were college educated. They went off and they did what they had to do in order to get an education at that time. That's what everybody was talking about. Education is the key.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
and then, of course, my grandmother was born in 1913, same town, similar circumstances.
Yeah.
Um, and it took her 26 years to get a college degree. She went to school throughout, she went every summer when she could afford to and worked all year to be
Wow.
able to pay, even for high school. They didn't get to high school for free. So she would work all year to pay to go to school when she could. It took her 26 years and she finally graduated from what is now known as Jackson State University.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so fast forward, my mama born in the same town. Like, why didn't they leave? But anyway,
Like, come on, let's just repeat this. And hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, honey.
I
Don't.
guess so. I'm like, I mean, Mississippi is hot, the snakes, like, I mean, but anyway, so, but my mom said she never even knew anybody who had a doctorate in anything except the physician who came to town every so many months to like check on people. And so for her, she just was like, that's something I want to do. She was really ambitious and she ended up, getting a PhD, working at the University of Michigan, all these things that people had told her would never happen or were
Yeah.
impossible. And so I tell that long story just to say this. For me, I look at these women who were in my life who they overcame obstacles that people would have said were insurmountable. I
Yeah.
can't beginning to tell you all the stories that I've heard about their life experiences, growing up
Yes.
time period in that space. And so for me, when I named SP Grace, I named it as a tribute to them because I thought if they could start where they started and do the things that they did, then I used it as an aspirational name for the company for me. Like,
Yeah.
let me start where I was able to start, and then I should be able to do some really extraordinary things. So that kind of set the groundwork for what I always desired in my heart
Yes.
for the company.
Yeah.
And I think that we work differently when we have a passion about it and when our why is really strong. Um,
Exactly. That's what makes it personal, right? That's truly what makes it personal, and everything about your why, your story, what really has motivated you and helped you to be creative, even about the way that you bring forth SP Grace, all comes from that legacy, right?
mm,
That carrying on that same thing and just reinventing it in a way that's suitable for your skill sets and your passion. So
absolutely.
it's so personal, and that's the whole thing, and the whole aura or voice behind SP Grace is
Yes.
to make things personal because it works. So we know exactly now what that means for you, but what is on a personal level, like how that ties in? But what does that really mean to you when it comes to working with the cities and the government systems? How do you make those things personal? Because we know the bureaucracy and politics behind some of those things can be a little brutal. So give us the recipe.
Did you say a little brutal?
I gotta keep it a little sweet, little sweet.
Yes, a little brutal. Okay. So let me say this. The whole thing about making business personal because it works. Yes, for me, the name of the business, totally personal. I just want my mom and my grandmother, who is not here anymore, but I just want the ancestors to be proud, right? I just want that is something that I think is so important for me personally. When I think about making business personal because it works, we've often heard the phrase where somebody will say, well, it's not personal, it's just business. Have you ever heard anybody say that?
Yes,
Like,
yes,
it's
that's the
it's
first
not
thing I
personal.
think about.
It's not personal, it's just business. Nuh-uh. You better ask the person you're talking to because the one who's most affected is personal to them. Like
Yes,
when you tell someone, oh, you're not getting this promotion, but it's just business, it wasn't personal. It's personal to them,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
When you tell someone that they can't have something, can't achieve something, can't accomplish something in their professional world, and you say it's a business decision, I would really encourage you to rethink that statement because people are people and we have human interests and things are personal to us. And when you attach something meaningful to a person, you're going to get such better results when you really accept the humanity that comes into play in our workplaces. I know AI got us tripping right now. We all think that everything, the robots are taking over, but they have not taken over yet. And
Yes,
so you still got humans. And so to me, people should be at the center of everything you do. That is at the center of our work. When we think about how we're going to approach a project, what projects we're going to approach, what we're going to bid for, what we're not, how we're going to do the work when we are awarded a bid, it is always about recognizing the people as the center of that, how people move, what matters to people. How do you influence people and how do you encourage people to do things that you think are important or that you want them to do, but that also align with who they are, right?
Yes.
And their
Yes.
values, and recognizing that there are things that are meaningful to them that might not be meaningful to you. But how do you attach those things together so you could actually get the outcomes that work for both of you?
Yes, exactly. That mutual benefit. And
Absolutely.
when we think about, like you're saying, people being the center, people being the core, the heart of what it really takes to see success on any type of level, business wise, relationship wise, you name it, the people are the core, are the center. So when you think about how right now you're leading on the NOF ARPA Grant Fund project with the city of Detroit, what do you feel when you were bidding on that or when you received that award? What's the heart of that work? Like, what does success look like from your side of the table taking on that such a large project?
Sure. So let me start by saying that for me, business is also very personal. I don't want projects that I don't find meaningful. I just don't. Even if they are profitable, it has to align with my values and what is important to me.
Yeah.
So I consider myself a Detroit girl all day long. I went to elementary school in the city, lived in the city. My dad grew up in the city. Like, I love the city and the people of the city of Detroit. So, for me to pursue this project, which just a quick, kind of summary of that project, this is where we are not only administering a micro grants of $10,000 to $20,000 for approximately 80 nonprofit organizations in the city of Detroit, grassroots nonprofits.
Yes.
We're also providing technical assistance, which is coaching, training,
Yes.
consulting, and support to help them build capacity, right? So the goal for this one was to not only service nonprofits, but also to help nonprofits that might not necessarily be ready to apply for the larger grant funds, but to be able to show them, hey, here's the path. This is what you got to do in order to even be ready for the big, big, big funds. And we're going to help you to get there to even get this. And even for those who aren't awarded this fund, like we are still opening up the opportunity for you to get technical assistance and support to help you build capacity. So, from my perspective, this was really an opportunity for me to feel like I was making an impact in Detroit. I can't go out and do the work of these 80 organizations. They are doing the work. And a lot of times they're doing the work and they're not getting the credit for it because they don't have the funds or the background. People are paying for stuff out of their own American Express accounts. And, this is work of passion and heartfelt work. A lot of these people own other businesses that they are using to help fund their nonprofit ventures. And so for me, I looked at this as an opportunity to use my skills and my business to reach to the leaders of these 80 organizations or 80 plus organizations and
Exactly.
help them to get stronger so they can do more, then they reach more.
Yes.
And so for
Now,
me, yeah,
yes.
this is what that was for me. And I was excited. Honestly, I felt honored that God would choose me and use me to be able to be that in the best way possible. So when I took on this project, it was really a heartfelt personal project for me.
Yeah,
Um,
yes, definitely. Much like the organizations you're serving, which is what really gives you that fuel, like when you're going through the tough times. Because, hey, anyone that's been in government contracting knows that it's not all peaches and roses. Like you have those times where you literally have to, get in there and get it and just find a way to get it done. So when we're thinking about that, that's like the whole vibe that we get from small business, right? Like getting it done, wearing all the hats, but somehow, some way you're getting it done, right? So when you think about that, what do you feel has been one of the toughest challenges that you faced when you're leading such critical work across Detroit, Oakland County? Like, what has been one of the toughest challenges for you?
I think that, like many small business owners may be able to relate to this. My biggest challenge has been myself, me getting in my own way, me waking up some days and saying, am I making the right decisions? Am I about to mess this up?
Right.
Not from a business standpoint, but just,
Yeah.
you carry the weight of not only in a situation like this, not only the weight of my company, but also the weight of the work. And
Yes.
it matters to me personally that this work goes forth in a way that is meaningful and impactful. And so my biggest obstacle has been me waking up every day saying, okay, tunnel vision, focus, like don't get distracted by, hey, funds are going away from this, this group, or they can't do this, or we can't, like, I can't focus on that. So I have to get myself right every day.
Exactly. Yes.
And every day, I'm just saying, as a business owner, as a small business owner, I will say, every day, you have to, sometimes remind yourself, like, there's a reason I don't just have a job. Okay, keep going. It's gonna
Yes.
be okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to keep going, and you just have to, you got to stay locked in with others who are who support you and
Yes.
who understand entrepreneurship,
Yes.
and just remind yourself of your purpose. I'm very clear about my purpose.
Right.
So me knowing my purpose in life is something that I have to continue to remind myself, why do I exist? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing?
Yes.
And that purpose is lined up with this work. I know my purpose is to help other people win in their lives, period. It is
Right.
natural to me. It brings me joy. And it is something that I'm gifted to be able to do really well, to just be a support and helping other people win in their careers and in their lives and
Yeah.
encouraging them along the way and all of that. And so I remind myself of that in order to keep going on the days when, especially when it's tough or when I'm not sure that I made the right call.
Yes, definitely. Exactly. And I could definitely relate to that because I used to tell my clients, like, you don't have to worry about if this is going to work out or if I'm going to go the extra mile for you because your success is my success. And if you're not smiling and you're not happy and shooting for joy and calling me to tell me that, you've done this or achieved that, then that's really what gives me confirmation. So, yes, definitely understand 100% where you're coming from there. And when you're thinking about like most entrepreneurs, right? Because we're on Small Business Radio Detroit, right? When you're
Absolutely.
thinking about entrepreneurs and nonprofits, like similar to some of the nonprofits that you're servicing now, some of the assistance, like you said, you get joy of help out of helping people, assisting them. So through your technical assistance programs, what are some common mistakes that you have noticed when working with small businesses or nonprofits when it comes to trying to secure funding or trying to build capacity? What are some common mistakes that you see, and what would you recommend?
Yeah, one of the things that I think we often may underestimate is the power of community.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship can feel so lonely. And the other part of it is that, you don't want people to see where you messed up because most of us start businesses because we already think that we're smart or good at something,
Right,
right?
right,
And so we think we're good enough at something that somebody should pay us for that something.
right.
So if you think that you're smart or good enough to do that, then when you see certain parts of your business that you're like, I'm not necessarily so smart at that, you don't want people to know. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
don't want you to know that because I am an amazing chef, that I'm not good at record keeping. And so my taxes are behind or whatever, because then you might think I'm not as smart and amazing as I am. And
yeah,
so a lot of times we can be very guarded about the things that we feel make us vulnerable or look like we aren't successful. And
yes,
those are the things that we need the most support to help us build sustainable businesses.
right,
And so it's difficult to open up and to let somebody look at your books. It is difficult to open up and let somebody come in and give you a third party, assessment of what's going on in your business. Like, hey, you're not talking to them right. Or hey, that
right.
they like, that they don't like working for you, right?
Yes,
Like
yes,
everything is not your strength, and that's okay. But my thing that I see a lot of is that we get so guarded about the things that can have the biggest impact on our success, and we don't have a community that feels safe to
right,
be vulnerable. And so my number one thing would be to find your community, find your other business owners that you can work together with, you all can support each other. People you can open up and say, I took out a loan and I don't know how I'm gonna pay that back. Right?
Yeah.
The people you can say,
Yeah.
you know what, I hired some people and I am not sure if they should have been 1099 or if they should have been employees.
Exactly.
All of that, right? You need to
Yeah.
be able to have a safe space where you can talk about the realities because small businesses often fail because of lack of management. We don't have the ability, we don't have the knowledge
Right.
to really build sustainable businesses because we don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. If you didn't go to school for and get an MBA or or something on those lines where you specifically just been laser focused on that thing, like you said, you'll have pieces to the puzzle, but it's gonna take other players to complete that and make that whole.
Yes,
So
and even if you did get an MBA, entrepreneurs, if you are listening, you have an MBA, it's okay. You're vulnerable too. We know you don't remember everything and you don't know. Listen.
right, look, because that book work is different from putting boots on the ground. It is
Oh
a
my
whole
goodness.
different big difference.
It is so
Yes.
different. And you can't, I mean, it's hard too now because on social media, you're looking at people who you don't realize you're necessarily comparing yourself to, but you're looking at other people, you're thinking, well, they seem so successful and they're doing all of these things. And it's
Mhm.
hard to not measure yourself against the wrong measuring stick.
Exactly.
So build community and be open to not only taking from that community, but giving in that community. That's what makes it work. You being
Yeah.
able to share and be open to connecting other dots for people. It can be a real game changer for your business.
Definitely, especially coming when it comes to systems and how we're creating the capacity with a limited amount of funding, and you're kind of caught between the rock and the hard place. That's where the community is key. You may have that person that can step in and push something out for you, or bartering. Bartering is like my number one word. Hey, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. How can we help each other to raise and to go to the next level? And thinking about going to the next level, whether it's business, whether it's career wise, thinking about how we elevate, thinking about how we truly get to the next level to where we're trying to go, how we break through the obstacles, break through the growing pains, how we kind of follow a traditional path with unconventional methods. When we think about that, we think about what that looks like. And I know that you're rolling out an amazing program that really just embodies that whole feel of obtaining the unachievable with things and strategies that no one else would have thought about. So tell us more about elevating, about the Elevate program. Tell us what that looks like. Why is that program so different? And why now? Why is now the time for this program?
Well, thank you for asking me about that because I'm very
Yes.
excited about this. So for me as a business owner, this is actually it's a new area for our business to go straight direct to consumer.
Okay.
And so, just as I have learned and have been working with other business owners in my community to help me think about how do we expand and how do we get creative? Because small businesses drive innovation, y'all. Listen, don't be afraid to be the
Yeah.
person that thinks of something that nobody else seems to have thought of, or to do something that maybe somebody else has thought of in a different way. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to do that because that's what small businesses do best, right? And so, I have for many, many years been working with young people to help them get into college and to help them navigate the path, those who want it to go. And it's been something that I have done. I've done it as a volunteer. I have done it many years ago. I actually did it
Yeah.
as part of my profession. I went and spoke to thousands of students across the country for a global organization that was focused on helping them to plan for their next steps after high school. So
Okay.
what happened was between that work and then my work in my own business, where we do leadership, career, and professional development, I
Yes.
started to see a pattern here and I started to shape a strategy. And I started to see, oh, wait a minute, this is a game. Like getting into, not just getting into college, but how do you make yourself stand out in a way that means wherever you got to be competitive? Okay, right now, if you're talking about a young person who wants to go to college, you have to be able to stand out to even let them read your application to say, hey, come here,
Yes.
right? But even beyond that, it is Well, what about when then you need internships or your first job, or you get into a job and you want to elevate to the next level? There's all this stuff related to how do you actually make yourself stand out as unique and put yourself on a completely different trajectory. So that's
Yeah.
the Elevate program. And it's called Elevate because we use the College Smarter method. And that is the method that I developed over the years
Hmm.
to help young people really to stand out and be competitive. I have, using this method, I have young people, including my own daughter, who is
Yeah.
at now. I have someone at NYU, Emory University, Morehouse, University of Michigan. Several of my students are U.S. Congressional Gold Medal Award winners.
Wow.
I'm a Disney Dreamer. Like they are doing big, big things. And so for me, this is about really helping parents to decrease their stress because we start stressing our kids out for the wrong reasons. You got to get in all the AP classes and you have to do this and you have to do like there's so much that we stress our kids out about because we don't necessarily understand the way this game is played, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So understanding the rules of the game helps you to make a plan and a strategy to win. It's much
Yes.
easier to win a game when you know the rules, right? We can
Exactly.
stumble into a win, but let's not do that, right? And
Right.
so
Let's be intentional here.
yes,
Intentional.
let's be intentional. And so this program for me, and it's really a methodology. It's like putting your special little snowflake, your child, who everybody is a unique little snowflake. They
Yeah.
are. They really, really special to bring to a campus community. And it's a matter of how do you make that stand out? And how do we do it in a way that's faster,
Right.
less stressful,
Less
that
expensive.
less expensive? Like, how do we do that strategically?
Yes.
And this the College Smarter method is not to replace the support that students get from their college counselors and from the people who support them with test taking tips and
Yes.
reading essays and things. This is about crafting a unique strategy that is just for your child, a playbook unique to your child,
Yeah.
that a winning playbook. And everyone that I have worked with, I have been very, very excited to report they have all been winning in ways that are super meaningful to them. And that does not mean everybody goes to Ivy League school because everybody doesn't want to and everybody doesn't need to. Every
Exactly.
school is not for every student. But this
Yeah.
is about understanding not only fit, but making sure that you recognize that, this is the right school for you and they see that you're the right school for them. I
Right.
mean, you're the right student for them. And also, how do you navigate this so that you're not miserable along the way? Like you and your parents and the student and the parents can have fun. Parents aren't miserable. Kids get into
Right.
college, kids go off and they're doing great things. So in any case, you let me
Yeah.
ramble on, but I get excited when I start talking about this stuff.
No, and I am tuned in. I am tuned in because we need to know about that, right? That we people need to know what they're getting out of this. And quite honestly, just hearing what you're saying, I mean, these tips, these strategies, these practices could be applied in any area of life, which makes it so versatile. And I just commend you. Great, great, wonderful program. It's very clear that SP Grace is standing strong and making things work, making things personal, getting out there, really engulfing your passions into that and creating that impact through your purpose. So it's clear that you're building something so great. And when we think about your legacy and what you're trying to create long term, what is it that you would hope people would say about Dr. Carmen Bell-Ross in the next 10 to 20 years? What kind of rapport or feedback would you like to have or hope to see?
When I dream about how I would like for people to talk about me 10 years from now, one, Lord, I would like to still be here, please. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, aside.
Oh my
But I want people to say that I made a difference and an impact that helped to lift families and communities in
Yes.
the city of Detroit and really outside of the city of Detroit too, just in major urban corridors, that
Yeah.
the work that I did made an impact and that the problems that I took on with my team to solve, we actually made a difference that really mattered in people's lives and that allowed them to shape careers and lives that impacted their families in positive ways. That's important to me.
Yes,
I can't, I think, you know how they say how do you change the world one person at a time? And
yes,
for me, that would be so meaningful because I believe that if you can help to change the trajectory of someone in that family, in the household, they influence everybody else.
yes,
That doesn't just mean just college. It means career. It means life. It means helping people to make the kinds of decisions that have an impact that's positive, where you don't have to worry about changes in the
right,
world and whether or not somebody gives you something and whether or not, funding shifts. That's the way of the world. It
exactly.
changes. One
Yes,
industry goes up, another industry goes down. You know what I mean? One set of priorities is important this year, whole different set of priorities is important another year.
yeah,
And so
that constant shift. Yes,
yes. And so just to be able to help people to find some calm in the storm and to be able to have consistency that really puts them on a path to winning.
yes,
Everything for me to know that I played a role in that. One, I'll feel so honored and so blessed that God chose me to have a role in that. And to see it all play out would be everything for me.
yes. And then you're well on your way. You're already making your mark. So
Thank you.
I have no doubt. And when you think about, I know you're so big on community, right? Definitely letting small business know how important it is to create that network, to create that system, to overcome the challenges, to get to the point where you're able to really see that impact on the level that you're envisioning it, right? When you're first starting or first having the idea. So when you think about your community and those that you're currently working with, who would be your dream partner or collaborator right now? Who do you feel like should be paying attention to the work that SP Grace is currently doing?
Well, a couple. So one, any parents, particularly middle school parents right now, because people ask me when should we start thinking about and planning for college? Like middle school is prime time. Like let's get in here, let's
Yes.
get a strategy going, let's get a winning playbook going for your kids. Like let's do that.
Yes.
So of course I want to partner with parents in that way, and high school parents too. It's not too late. Okay,
Right.
we're a little further downstream. That's okay.
Right.
Let's figure that out because there's still a real big path to winning and success. And beyond that, I am a true believer in we lift as we climb. Okay. So as we continue to achieve and build and grow, you should be able to look around you and see others that are winning right alongside you. Who did you bring along with you? Who did you help as you were continuing to strive and to succeed? And so for me, who's paying attention? I want other business owners pay attention. Like, let's do this together.
Yes.
Whether you're doing it with me, whether you're doing it with others, to see that we adopt a mindset that there is no lack. There is
Yes.
no lack. That is a false narrative. There is room for us to come up together. The amount of money that flows through our country's financial
Yes.
system
Exactly.
and I mean global systems, like money is not lacking. And for us to really look at how do we get access to it, honestly, it's probably better if we do it
Yes.
together. So for
Exactly.
me, if you want to, know who should be paying attention to me, anybody who is about that life, anybody who is about like, let's do this together, let's build together, let's lift as we climb, even if it's not directly with me, lifting others. Who do you build community with? Who are you helping?
Right.
Because if you're just doing it just to get something out of it, you're going to get very different results than if you become a genuine partner with others as you continue
Yes.
other and lift yourself. So that's what
Yes,
I.
definitely, definitely. Well, I definitely appreciate everything you shared. The real story, the real strategies, right? And really the real connections that we need to continue to make and strive for in business to really help us to get to that next level, to elevate, right? To get down in there and figure out what the roadmap looks like for your business or on a personal level. Really just putting all the pieces together when you're only mastering a few of those. And I just really adore the fact that SP Grace stands 10 toes down on making business personal because it works. I mean, everything you talked about today goes back to the idea that this is personal, from the businesses you're bringing along with you to the impact you're making on organizations to everything from your childhood and the tribute you wanted to pay back to your mother and your grandmother. It is all personal. And hey, I'll take personal over business any day if I'm going to get this treatment. You better believe I will. So, for those of you out there that are viewing, please don't hesitate to make things personal in your business. Please reach out to Dr. Carmen Bell-Ross. Her website is www.spgrace.com. Please feel free to go on, make connections with her, as we're doing here at Small Business Radio Detroit, turning barriers into bridges through strategy and connections to help small businesses really sustain. It was just such a good pleasure to have you on and to have your expertise and feedback. And we look forward to having you on again, Dr. Bell-Ross.
Thank you so much for having me. It has truly been a pleasure. I love sitting here kicking it with you, Marlo. You are an inspiration to me, and I just appreciate your even wanting to sit here and kiki and talk about this because this stuff is important. So I
Yes.
appreciate your questions. I appreciate the experience. Thank you so much.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Small Business Radio Detroit is about that life. So you all
Oh,
tune in to tell other people to tune in too. Okay.
yes.
With Milo Boyd. I appreciate
Yes.
that.
Let's build this community, y'all. Let's do it.